Hello friends, welcome to the second part of the video series about configuring a centralized user management with Kerberos, OpenLDAP and NFS. In my previous video, I configured Kerberos server on CentVMO1, installed pam_krb5 package on CentVMO2 and 03. I've also created host principals for these two machines, O2 and O3. In this video I will be installing the OpenLDAP server on CentVMO1 and I will be creating a couple of users and migrating them to the LDAP and see if we can set up an LDAP authentication on CentVMO2 and CentVMO3. And in my final part of the video, the next part, I'll be showing you how to configure NFS and AutoFS service to do the auto mount of the home directories for the user on login. So let's get started. I'm going to install 3 packages here. OpenLDAP servers, OpenLDAP clients and migration tools. The migration tools package provides some Perl scripts which can be used to migrate the existing UNIX user accounts to the LDAP accounts, the LDAP directory. We need to copy a sample dbconfig file, which is usually in to var lib LDAP, and we need to adjust the ownership of the copied file, but let's do it on the whole. Okay, installing OpenLDAP servers, we have created a user named LDAP. There you go. And now I'm going to generate a password hash using slap password utility. And let me copy this hash. Okay. I will be editing 3 important configuration files, all of which reside in this directory. So the first file I'm going to edit is olc database config.ldif, and okay, I'm going to append this entry olc root password and paste the password hash that I copied. Okay, the second file I'm going to edit is hdb.ldif. So the first thing I'm interested in doing is change the dc equals my domain dc equals com to jungle kvm in my case. And next to the olc root dn, I'm going to add olc root password, the same that I did in the previous configuration file, and paste the hash. And now I'm going to add 2 new entries called olc access. And another entry So basically, I'm telling who can access what, who can change the user password, who can view it, and what the anonymous user has got access in terms of password and general details. So that's done. Save and exit, and finally monitor.ldef. In here, the only change is changing the domain name. Save and exit. So now we are ready to start the service. So let's enable that service first. /d, and let's start it. Start it. And if you do netstart -nltp, here we go, the /d process running on port 389. In this demonstration, I'm just using plain LDAP protocol, not the LDAP-S, which usually runs on 636. We need to open the firewall port for 389. So we have LDAP, LDAP-S, Kerberos, which we added in the previous video. So now in our case we just need to add LDAP service. Okay, and now I'm going to import some additional schemas to OpenLDAP. To be able to import and use UNIX user accounts, you need these basic schemas. So if you look in HC OpenLDAP schema, you've got a collection of these schemas. So I will be installing cosine, nis, and inetArgPerson.ldif. So let's do that using LDAP add -y external -h, which LDAP server you're connecting to, the local one here, and which file you're going to import. I misspelled external, it's not internal, it's external. XX added entry. So let's do nis and LDAP. Okay, that's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a base.ldif file where I'm going to define what my root domain, root entry is, and what my organizational units are going to be. So I've done that previously, and I'm going to copy and paste that here. So DC equals jungle and DC equals KVM is my root entry in LDAP. And so I'm creating an organization unit called people, and I'm creating another organization unit called group. So when I'm adding the Unix users and groups to my LDAP server, I'll be placing them under these organizational units. I could use PHP LDAP admin to do this, but I'm not installing PHP LDAP admin in this demonstration, so I'm doing it by hand. And there is a mistake again. Whoops. Okay. So we have got the LDIF file, and now let's import this LDIF file into our LDAP directory using LDAP add. minus uppercase W, so that it will ask you for the password of the root account. Okay, so if we do an LDAP search, so you can see the entries that we created has been added to the LDAP server. Okay, so we have created a structure here, and let's add a couple of users to send VMO1 and then import it to the LDAP directory. Note that I'm not creating a password for these two user accounts because authentication will be handled by Kerberos. So in the next part of this video, I will be creating user principals for these two users in the Kerberos server. I've created two new users, and now I'm going to use the migration tools package, the scripts provided by the migration tools package that we installed earlier in this video to migrate the users. So let's go to cd user share migration tools and edit migrate underscore common.ph. We need to set our domain here, search for PADL, and change this to jungle.kvm again in here. Search for extended schema, it's already there, and set the value to 1. That's all you need to do. And if you take a look at files in this directory, you have a migrate password and migrate group. So we're going to be using these two Perl scripts to create an LD file out of the HC password file. So before doing that, I'm interested only in these two users, demo user 1 and demo user 2. So let's take those two entries out of HC password and store them in a separate file. Okay, using migrate underscore password Perl script and using temp users as input file, excuse me, and the output will be returned to users.ldif, and now let's do the group one. The input file is going to be groups, and we want the output to be returned to groups.ldif. So now if you take a look at groups.ldif, so basically it has created an LDAP file which we can straight away import to the LDAP server. Let's do that. LDAP add -x -d -uppercase W to ask for password, and -f, the file we are going to import. Okay, it has added two new groups, demo user 1, demo user 2, under the organizational unit group. And now let's add the user accounts. Okay, so we've got a basic structure in our LDAP directory. We've got a root domain, root entry, we've got a couple of organizational units, we've got a couple of users and groups set up. we don't have any password set up for these user accounts, later we need to be creating a user principal and assign a password for those two accounts in the Kerberos database. That's all we need to do on the OpenLDAP server. The server is configured. So let's go to CentVMO2 and set up LDAP authentication on this server. So if you look ID, if you search for demo user 1, you won't see, because it's not a local user. It's a user that exists in the LDAP directory. So we need to configure LDAP authentication on this server. Let's do that. So for that, you need to install NFS PAM LDAP package. Okay, and authconfig TUI. I'm going to be using LDAP for user information, so check that, and Kerberos for authentication. And my LDAP server is centvm01.jungle.kvm. Okay, so it has entered all the information basically for me. It got all this information from the etckrb5.conf file. So I'm not going to edit anything in here, just use the values that it has already populated. While it's doing that, let's do the same thing on the other machine. LDAP for user information, Kerberos for authentication. LDAP server is centvm01.jungle.kvm. The base DN, DC equals jungle and DC equals kvm. Jungle.kvm is my realm, KDC server, admin server, everything appears to be correct. Okay, so we've configured LDAP authentication on these two servers, and now let's do a search. So if you look at etcnsswitch.conf file, you can see, so the password, shadow and group information it's gonna see in the files. That's basically locally in this machine. And it has also added the LDAP entry. So if it can't find in the local database, then it will look in LDAP. So grep demo etc password. Nope, there's no user named demo or anything in the CentVMO in this machine locally. So if you do get ent passwords demo user 1, you are seeing an entry getting returned, ID demo user 1. Okay, so it appears that our LDAP configuration is working as expected. And let's do the same for demo user 2. So okay, the users are all configured now. LDAP authentication is enabled on these two servers. So as you can see, we are getting information, user information from the LDAP server, because these two users doesn't exist locally on these machines. Let's also do a check on this machine. Okay, so it's working. If you don't get an entry, if you don't get a result, probably you might have misspelled your domain name while doing the configuration using authconfig TUI. If you get such error, it's worth going back to authconfig TUI and make sure you have spelt your domain name correctly, base DN correctly, the LDAP server correctly, properly. Okay, and that is it I wanted to show you in this video. It's yep. Okay, one more video to go. On my third video we shall look at the final bits of configuring the NFS server and AutoFS server to mount the home directory automatically on login. So the home directory exists in CentVMO1 for demo user 1 and demo user 2. So in my next video I will be installing an NFS server and exporting the home directory from CentVMO1, and we can access the home directory from CentVMO2 and CentVMO3, and we also need to configure AutoFS service to automatically mount these home directories. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.